Hello and welcome to the studio. My name is Scott. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to talk to you about some of the injuries that I've sustained as a direct result from being a full-time guitarist and musician. Now keep in mind that I'm not a doctor, this isn't medical advice, but I'm going to share with you just my personal experiences with some of these conditions, how I'm dealing with them and how I'm trying to prevent them from getting worse for the future so that I can carry on doing what I love for longer. This subject isn't really talked about all that much, but if I'd seen this video when I'd started, I may not be in as much pain as I am now. Now the first injury is, I've got a great big lump on my middle finger, on the knuckle right in the centre of my finger. Now that hasn't been disclosed as to what it is. They tell me that it's a ganglion cyst, which is a big sack of pus that grows on a joint in your hand, which no one really tells you about. It's just something that happens. You don't know why. It's just there. It'll just appear one day. Sometimes it's on your wrist, sometimes it'll be on your knuckle somewhere. I've been told that's what it is, and the doctor who I saw told me to just squash it a little bit and see if you can kind of disperse it. And you know, sometimes it'll pop and it'll just kind of disperse in, and so you got a big sack of pus inside your body dispersing. It's disgusting. I'm not convinced that that's what it is. If I touch it, if I bend my finger to a certain point, it hurts. And I'll tell you the reason why it came about in a second, but if you ever get this, you need to see a doctor straight away, because it could be one of a few things, and some of them can be detrimental long-term to playing guitar. There's a chance that it'll stop me playing guitar at some point if I'm not aware of it, if I don't know how to kind of deal with it. Now it could also be the early signs of osteoarthritis, which is what it possibly could be. In the beginning, when it first happened, I thought it was an issue with my tendon. There's a sheath that goes over your tendon, and if it's kind of overused or damaged, it can get inflamed and it can kind of go like a weird shape. I don't really know the term or the names behind this, but a tendon, the way that a tendon is built, can change and it can get tighter, and it can actually restrict the movement of whatever it is. It can happen in your anywhere, any tendon, and it builds up kind of like scar tissue. I think that's what it was in the beginning, but now I have no idea what it is. I'm going to go back to the doctor once everything's kind of settled down. I'm going to see and I'll keep you updated. But I've learnt to deal with it. I've learnt to change the way that I play guitar. When it first happened, when it first arose, it was very painful. And now, if I push it, it hurts. If I bang it or I bump it, it hurts for a week. And I just can't do anything with it. It doesn't stop me playing guitar. It stops me bending my finger past like that point. It hurts past that point. So it's fine. I just changed my hand position and I've been working with it okay. It's stopped me practicing as much, which means I'm a lot slower than I used to be. I can't spend you know, hours and hours a day just doing that. Not just because I might get pain, just because of kind of life in general. That's just you know, as you get older, you can't put 8 hours a day into just drilling the same thing to get faster. It's not something I put a lot of value on anymore. And to give you a bit of a background of how I think this came about, I've had a few different occupations. I've been a carpenter, mechanic, I've worked in a hotel, I've worked in a bar. Now, when I decided to become a full-time musician, I went at it and I committed to it fully. I said yes to everything. And as a result of that, I ended up securing, I think it was 4 different residencies. I will go into residencies again. I might do a little story time corner every now and again, just to let you know different things like that, like how I got the residencies and stuff. 2 of those residencies, those venues, were in the centre of Cardiff. For those of you that are not Welsh, Cardiff is the capital of Wales, which is the country where I live in. And when I was gigging there, there was restrictions to where you could park. You couldn't drive through the centre of the city. You had to park outside wherever you wanted to park and walk in. Now, I don't know if anyone's been through this before, if anyone's actually gigged in Cardiff. When you're trying to walk to a venue with your equipment, you're walking through just a sea of drunk people fighting, there's blood on the floor, you're stepping over puke, just trying to get to the venue, keep your head down, you don't look anyone in the eye, you just kind of get there. Luckily, the venues had the big PA systems there. They had mixers, they had speakers, but I had to take everything else. So it started off, it'd take me 5 minutes, say 4 or 5 minutes to walk from the car to the venue. Then I'd walk back. Then I'd take more stuff over. And just the struggle of going back and forth, I just eventually just thought, right, I'll just take everything in one go. And this was 2 nights a week. It was every Tuesday and every Thursday. Tuesday was in O'Neill's, Thursday was in Brewhouse. They're on the same street. And the equipment that I had to take in was my guitar, my pedal board. It was a big pedal board at the time. I've minimised it a lot now. My music stand, my microphone stand, big bag of leads and my microphone and everything. So I decided after a while to carry them all in one go. I thought it would save me time. And now through doing that for a long time, I think I strained my hands quite a lot. And that's when I noticed this happening. It was exactly at that point when I was overdoing it. I could feel, you know, I'd start playing guitar and I would feel a little bit of pain when I was playing guitar. Then over time, this thing grew. And I've stopped overloading myself now. I've reduced the size of everything. Even my speakers, I've now got the smallest, most powerful amplifier and the cleanest sound. It's a beautiful amplifier. But that's what I take now. It just goes on my shoulder. Everything else is manageable. I don't need a music stand anymore. I don't gig all that much anymore anyway. So everything that I do now, I never overload anything, especially this hand. I've just got to be careful about it now. Now the next issue that I've had is to do with posture. Specifically, I'm going to talk about posture relating to different types of guitar. Now, this is my first ever guitar. This is the first one I ever had. It's all faded. It's been on the blocks, chipped, where I dropped things on it. It's fallen down the stairs and stuff, but I love it. Now, the way that I'm made, my body's quite short. I got really long, gangly legs and arms that seem to go on forever. So it's comfortable for me to rest on the guitar. And I used to play like this. I used to kind of hunch over, look down, and all your spine, all your back is all kind of curved. And I know that that's not specifically because of the guitar. I've just got bad posture. I'm just not aware of it. I didn't do any other kind of sport at all which reinforced a better posture. You know, like if you're running a lot, you can't run with bad posture, or, you know, you can't swim with bad posture. It conditions your muscles to pull you back together straight. And this kind of looking over kind of thing is even more prominent when you've got an acoustic guitar. Because the body is bigger, you've got to look over even more. So you've got to kind of play like that. So all my spine is just not right. So you want to try to not look at what you're doing. Keep your back straight. And there's one style of playing which does promote that from the beginning, which is classical playing. Now, classical players play with the guitar on this leg. So what this does is it changes the angle of the strings, which means that if you're doing finger picking, this hand stays in a straight line. That line from your wrist to the end of your fingers is straight, which means everything is just comfortable. There's no tension. There's no like craning your wrist that way to try and get the same angle on the strings. Or there's no like scratchiness on the strings. So that's the whole point of that. In terms of frets, it's much easier to keep your fingers parallel to the frets when the angle is like this. Because that's the way your hand naturally falls. Your hand doesn't want to go like that. Like to meet the frets like this, I've got to crane my wrist and turn my hand in a way that gives me pain, which I'm going to get to my last problem in just a second. There's tension in your arm when you play guitar like this. There just is. That's why people find it difficult to put their hand in the right position in the beginning, because all your muscles have to change. They do change shape. They get stronger on certain sides to make it easier to hold this position for a long amount of time. When you play like a classical kind of position, there's not so much of that. It's a natural way to hold the guitar. It's like a hug. It's like you're hugging someone. It's also the same way that you dance. It's just kind of the way that it feels. It's just natural. So what I suggest for anyone that ever feels like you want to kind of straighten up a little bit, stand up. It puts everything in a nicer position. You just got to make sure that your strap is the right height for you, so that it feels kind of right. And this angle is a much more comfortable position to play than sitting down when it's like this. When it's on one leg, it's like that. When it's not, It's just, you naturally kind of, it's got a lot more freedom. You can position things so there's no tension anywhere. I'm not a big advocate for kind of classical posture. I'm not like a big posture monkey where I make sure everyone is sitting properly back straight and I whack you with a ruler if you don't do it properly. I think you should be comfortable, which I was comfortable when I had bad posture, but if I was just aware of the effect that it could have, I would have corrected it earlier. Now, the only problem with standing up is the strap. The strap is on one side of your shoulder. Now, there are a few ways to get around this. I've noticed a few people play lately with like a double strap kind of thing. So you've got one strap with another one coming off to support on each shoulder. I was thinking of getting that when I was gigging a lot, but my gigs have kind of tapered off a little bit now, obviously. I've had a lot of problems with this one shoulder just by being just kind of tight and knotted, and like having trapped nerves and things, and it's to do with this weight. Acoustic guitars are fine, there's not a lot of weight with an acoustic guitar, but an electric guitar, there's a lot more weight, and it's all pulling on that one side. Other things that can affect your posture is singing with a microphone. Now, naturally, when I sing, I'm aware that my diaphragm needs to be unrestricted. I don't want to be folded up or anything. I know if I try to sing like the Oasis guy, I always get them confused, the Oasis guy, like that. Or you can hear my neck and my throat is all like tense and my voice is horrible. So when I'm like this, it's better. Same thing, if I go down too much, you get the same kind of weird sound. So naturally, this is where I normally like to sing, like from this position, looking straight forward, and that's where I've got the most control over everything vocally. That does make it difficult to see what I'm doing on the guitar. So if I've got the microphone here and I'm singing normally, I've got to go on my tiptoes to look down at my guitar so that I can see what I'm doing. And there's a lot of stuff that I do on guitar which requires me to see what I'm doing. So I move the microphone down a little bit like that, and it looks like my posture is a bit kind of lower and a bit crunched in, but that's what I've got to do to be able to see the guitar. If I didn't have the guitar, I would sing normally and I can look forward at everyone. I could see the audience and just kind of enjoy it and not even care about the guitar. But because I'm actually playing guitar, I need it there or lower so that I can see without going on tiptoes and kind of doing that kind of thing. Now, to get out of this kind of neck position, sometimes I'll split my legs up a little bit so that I'm now back to a normal point. I know this is a tiny small movement and a small change. A lot of people don't even sing, but this is part of the reason why my posture is bad. Now, to deal with this, I've started calisthenics to strengthen my back. All my strength, all my strongest muscles are the ones that I've used to carry equipment. And because I haven't really trained anything else, all my back muscles are super weak, but all my, my lifting muscles, carrying equipment, carrying gear in, they are fine. But it's just my back muscles, the ones that kind of straighten everything, they are so weak that it doesn't feel right when I'm standing with a normal posture, especially with the guitar on one side. I'm fighting against that to keep my shoulders up. Normally, I'd be like that. And that is not what I want. I noticed like my spine started to get like lumpy on the back. So now I'm actively holding the correct position while I'm playing, and that has got rid of a lot of like the trapped nerve stuff. Obviously, I don't play with electric so much, so that's helped. But if anyone is gigging a lot, just think about these different things, and you can stop this trapped nerves and like any tension from happening in future. Now, as part of that strengthening process, the calisthenics and the strengthening my back, I've done a bit more damage to my elbow, which is my last point, which I wanted to speak about.
Medial epicondylitis.
Or golfer's elbow. Now, this is an overuse injury relating to the inside of your elbow. If you ever get pain in the inside of your elbow, it's usually referred to as golfer's elbow. I don't think that playing guitar has caused it, but it definitely doesn't help. I've only noticed recently that when I play guitar a certain way, I'm twisting my wrist, I'm twisting my hand, that adds tension on that elbow, that exact point right there. Now, what this actually is, the way that your fingers work, we've got tendons that pull on the fingers like puppets on a string. And you can see mine quite clearly when I move my hands back and forth. You can see the tendons actually contracting and pulling on my fingers. The muscles that control those are all here in your forearm, and they attach at that point, or a lot of them do. I'm not a doctor, so I don't really know exactly, but guitarists do get it, and it is common with people who sit at a desk for a long time as well. Now, the cause for mine has been the act of trying to strengthen my back. I've been overdoing the exercises to try and get to kind of combat the posture issue that was caused by my guitar, and in turn I've now got a new condition with my elbow which I've got to deal with. But there are a lot of solutions to it which I'm kind of going through. The main thing is resting. I went through a couple of days I didn't play guitar at all. I didn't do any exercise at all. I tried not to sit at my desk at all, but I still got to make videos. And that's a really big thing at this point. This has only come around since like last week or maybe the week before. I've been doing a lot more exercise because I'm at home and I'm able to do it. I'm also editing a lot more videos. I'm doing at least 4 videos every week with the lessons for the buddies and the public lessons on my YouTube channel. I'm editing a lot, which means I'm sitting in the same place a lot with my arms in exactly the same position all the time. So to deal with all of that stuff, I've rested as much as I can. It is getting a lot better. There's a lot of things you can look up if you've got this issue, but go to your doctor. Do not take this as medical advice. This is just my experience. I'm just sharing with you. Just as I said earlier, it would have been useful if I'd known this when I first started, when all these different things were happening. And let me know if you're dealing with anything, if anything's come up with you, whether it's tendonitis or arthritis in the knuckles or anything. You will notice these issues at a certain age. It's only affecting me now, and I've played a lot. I'm 33, and now I'm starting to feel like I'm made of human parts rather than rubber, and I can get like hit by a car and just carry on my day. I'm now feeling like everything is going to have an effect in the future, and I want to get on top of it now. So I hope this has helped to some extent, even if it's just to open your eyes, to make you think about this. I'm not a massive advocate for classical playing and getting the right posture, as long as you're comfortable, as long as you're not reinforcing a really bad posture. Just think about it. And you notice people who sit down a lot, they'll adjust themselves. They'll naturally, kind of straighten their shoulders. And I'm starting to get a lot better. My posture is getting there. I've just got to be aware of it. All these different things are what I'm thinking about to help me do this for longer in my life.
Subscribe.
Oh, this is wobbly.